So Kriss, first of all, thank you again for sponsoring this report. It was a labor of love for myself and our co-authors. And you know this, I know in the important work you do that we have a data divide between the private and public sector. It's what private and social sector. And that's why data.org was founded at Davos in 2020. That's why MasterCard and Rockefeller came together and said, gosh, there's a big delta here and we want to use data smarter for the social sector. Our research for the report, our findings from our data maturity assessment highlight this gap. And we've covered some of these risks and challenges in the Accelerate report. But where do you see systemic change going? How do you see effective collaboration between the private and social sectors headed? Thanks, Kriss.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to all the panelists for the great insights. And it's just, I feel, inspired that we're starting to see more progress, even in this last year. What I would say in terms of the system side, in addition to all the pieces of the report that are important, is we really need to focus on this large data ecosystem. And that's what is really kind of missing. We know the talent side at the organizational level, but really building an ecosystem for social impact that is at this big data scale, that's not these one-off projects, I think is what we need to tackle first. And I'd say there are two things that we need to do right away to move this from idea to action. One is we need to change the narrative. And I would say every meeting anybody goes into needs to start with data is power. And we need to ask ourselves, why are we not advocating for investing in power for societal benefit? And if we continue to think about quote unquote data and talent as overhead, we are sunk for the 21st century. Like it is at this moment of urgency. And I want to give it's such a crystal clear example right now of if we don't move up that needle, what is at stake? Let's remember OpenAI, which just released ChatGPT that everybody's been using. It was founded as a nonprofit. They wanted it for societal benefit. And they went out to governments, they went out to philanthropy, trying to get it funded at scale to deliver at its potential, and they were unsuccessful. Transitioned to a for-profit with $1 billion invested by Microsoft. And what a loss for social impact, because we were not able to see the big picture and to build that ecosystem. And if you look, like Gates is giving away $8.3 billion next year. You've got these big, like, step up and let's put our big girl pants on and invest these $200 million, $100 million. Because could you imagine right now that ChatGPT was designed for social impact? It was sitting in a place of power of nonprofits to drive collaborations, from corporations, would look fundamentally different than it is now, that is getting future investment from the corporate sector. And again, I believe the nonprofit sector will benefit, but not nearly at the scale that's potential. So if we change the narrative to reach that scale, that's what we need to do, because sometimes it's incremental change, and in this new data AI enabled world, sometimes it's leapfrog change and transformation. And we need to be at that much bigger scale to do that change.